Okay, now we're stepping into my wheelhouse.
Yes, we're traveling across the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah?
Yes.
How would you like some peace and love?
Okay, I would love peace and love. So here's the thing. I was a little baby hippie back in the day. My mom used to say that I was born out of my time warp. And one of the things that I was obsessed with was the old 60s festivals like Monterey Pop and Woodstock and all that good stuff, right? So I remember when they announced Woodstock 94, and I mean, I was 13. I was not going to get to go. It was not, no. But I wanted to go so bad. But Woodstock 94 was the 25th anniversary of the original Woodstock Festival. I remember watching it on MTV. It took place on the same weekend, 25 years later, on the 12th to 14th of August of 94. It was originally titled 2 More Days of Peace and Music, and a third day was added due to demand, right?
Due tomato.
Right. And well, right. But that kind of worked out because the original Woodstock was also 3 days. So now, they ended up, it wasn't on the same farm that the original one was. They ended up having to go up north.
No, because they needed logistically.
Right. They needed more space. Because a lot of things had happened since then. For one, more people had cars. For two, the cars were bigger. For three, this was not just something that was kind of word of mouth or, the counterculture set. Like, this was being heavily promoted. So there were huge crowds coming. Not only the nostalgic, let's revisit where we met a million years ago, but also let's, a new kid, newer kids wanting to hop in on it.
I got you.
Right. Yeah. So you had, it was a very mixed bag as far as who played it. Okay. So you had the contemporary at the time artists like Sheryl Crow, Green Day, 9 Inch Nails, Metallica, Aerosmith, Blind Melon, The Cranberries, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Originally, I think when they were doing the talks for it at the beginning of the year, if my pop culture memory may be failing me, I know at one point in time, because things like this aren't put together in a month. Like it's done like a year, or even a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I remember correctly, Nirvana had been initially approached, and Kurt was like, "Nah." He wasn't. Yeah.
He wasn't feeling the love.
Right. But even then, of course, he passed before.
Yeah. Sadly.
So yes. So the weather on the Friday was perfect.
Well, hang on. Wasn't just
that's right.
acts.
Sorry,
We had
you're right.
older acts.
Like Santana, Peter Gabriel, Bob Dylan, Joe Cocker, Crosby, Stills and Nash, the band, Jefferson Airplane.
Yep.
Grace Slick brought she brought her original outfit or her daughter wore her original outfit. I don't remember, something like that. Anyway.
And Peter Gabriel was the headline act of the festival. Let me stop you right there. 1994, Peter Gabriel is headlining.
Totally different than OG Peter Gabriel film. Yeah.
I mean, Yeah. Everybody knows, not my disdain, but okay. I don't dislike Phil Collins. I joke that I do a lot of the time.
Right.
But I'm not a big fan of Genesis.
Right.
Especially Peter Gabriel Genesis.
Right.
I mean, and this is Sledgehammer or Peter Gabriel.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
To put them above, say, Green Day or even Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan should have headlined the event.
Maybe. Yeah. But the weather on Friday was, like I said, was great. However, the rains came in on Saturday, saturating the ground and making the field into mud pits, which was kind of reminiscent. Like it had the same vibe because there was a lot of rain and mud in the OG Woodstock. Now, bear all this. Take note, kids. This will come back up later.
Yes.
All right. So several of the bands got into the mud pits and or played in the mud before their performances because there was also mud in the backstage area too.
Yeah.
So a lot of bands came on stage after having been like dancing and moshing with each other backstage when other bands were on stage.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So most particularly Green Day, 9 Inch Nails showed up looking like the mud creatures.
Yes. The creatures from the Mud Lagoon. Yes. And then you had Blind Melon, Shannon Hoon appeared to be strung out on hallucinogenic drugs during his set, and during the interviews afterward. So
because MTV had rights to cover this.
Now, here's another thing to take note for later.
Oh, before we go on to that,
yes.
I mean, the mud pits, the mud fights and everything were fun and everything like that. But don't talk to Mike Dirnt about the mud pits.
No.
Because he was injured because security started to beat the shnikes out of him because they thought he was a fan that jumped up on stage and not the bassist of one of the bigger bands at the festival.
Not the bassist of Green Day. Yeah.
So, sorry about that.
No, you're good. All right. So, here's the thing. Picture it. Woodstock, 1994. All right. The same people, the same dude over the OG Woodstock was over this one. And apparently he went from peace, love, and music to music, capitalism, give me some money. Because a lot of things had changed in the 25 years.
Yeah.
So there were no outside...
No doubt, love.
Right? There was no outside food or drink allowed at the festival.
Yeah.
This became unenforceable, however, after thousands of people were able to enter by climbing and destroying the chain link fences designed to keep the fans in, which is ironic because the same thing happened at the OG Woodstock.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, 350,000 people showed up for this festival and only 160,000 of them had legal tickets.
Yeah. So over 200,000 people illegally entered, as well as people leaving and coming back in. Security had a hard time keeping up with things. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a concert the size of that, where you got people hopping the fence and people leaving and coming back, it's going to create a logistical nightmare.
Right. Now, some other tidbits. Aerosmith's Joey Kramer, Joe Perry, and Steven Tyler were attendees of the original Woodstock. They didn't play it, but they were there.
Yeah.
The tickets for the 94 Woodstock, now this is in $94, okay, were $135 a piece.
Peace, love, and money. The almighty dollar.
Right. So there was a high medical toll for the festival of this size, as 5,000 people were treated on site, with 800 of those taken to local hospitals, and sadly 3 of those people died.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan famously did not play at the original Woodstock Festival and was treated like a hero when he started his set.
Yeah, that's why I think he should have closed it up, because he was invited to the first festival and couldn't do it, and didn't do it, and did the Isle of Wight Festival in the UK instead with an electric guitar. Now, that sounds weird, but the Isle of Wight Festival is a folk festival. He showed up with an electric...
That's when Dylan went electric and people lost their freaking minds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, later on, Green Day released their set as a live album.
Yes.
And the financial success of the show led to a planned 30th anniversary show, which happened in 99.
Oh, yes.
Again, as I said,
take notes.
We'll be back. So the festival had a highlights VHS and Laserdisc release, as well as a double album.
Yes. So